Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Brewster Unitarian University. Wow, that was quick. Whoosh. Thank you so much. Welcome to First Parish. This church was founded in 1700, and I never get tired of saying that. We are part of a living tradition, which tells us many things. One, what we were is not what we are, but we do have those deep, deep roots in all of the world's religious traditions and balanced with the insights of modern science. We like to call ourselves seekers after truth and practical goodness. And the reason is, if there is one thing we can all be sure of, it's that none of us have all of the answers. We do, however, believe in the power of questions. Questions we ask ourselves, curiosity we hold out for one another, and inquiries about how to make this world a better place, one word and deed at a time. I am the Reverend Scott Hull, and it is my great pleasure to be with you today, joined by the esteemed John Kelp. Together, we are delighted to be with you. Esteemed, deeply esteemed. A special correction to the order of service. Our flowers today were facilitated by Dave and Daniel and their entire Covenant group. We are very grateful for that. In addition to that, we also want to offer our gratitudes for Kaeza, Dan, our choir, all for sharing these amazing musical gifts we're going to receive. Say thank you to our religious education team. And I have many special thanks for all of the volunteers that pitch in to keep this place running on love and joy, including the greeters, the ushers, the tech team, our coffee hour crew, and all of those office volunteers. Thank you, one and all. I hope you would join me right now in turning to that device right on that little thing in the middle. We're going to say hello to our online friends. Wherever they decide to join us from, we are so grateful to have them with us in the ether today. If you are new here this morning or joining us online for the very first time, allow me to congratulate you on your very good fortune in finding this place. It only gets better from here. Know that you're welcome and that your presence here is a gift that we are so very grateful to receive. If you are in the room and if you are so inclined, we are invited to take a moment to fill out that information card in the pew in front of you so that we might stay in touch. About today, there are a lot of things we could be lifting up this morning. There's Patriots Day tomorrow, which commemorates the first battles of our Revolutionary War, and also now the tragedy of the Boston Marathon 13 years ago. It's also Earth Day this week, and given everything going on in the world today, I thought it'd be good to pause on that, be inspired by our monthly Soul Matters theme this month, which is embracing possibility, and do something that we rarely do as a group, as individuals, as a society, and that is look up. Thank you for joining me for that ride. But first, some words from our stewardship co-chair, John Kelp.
The pledge campaign may technically be over, but stewardship is ongoing. Here's where we are today. 166 pledges have been received, totaling over $478,000, bringing us over 91% of the way to our goal. I'm filled with gratitude for the work of our visiting stewards and for the generosity of all who have pledged. More people have indicated that they will pledge but haven't done so yet for what I'll describe as, life gets in the way. The Finance Committee and the Board of Trustees are currently working on our budget for the next fiscal year. Our budget reflects the values our budget reflects our values because it demonstrates how we intend to fund our programs and support our staff as we strive to create a multi-generational practice of inclusion, support, and justice in the lives of ourselves and in the world around us. So, providing an accurate pledge commitment to the budget makers is important. To those who haven't pledged yet, thank you in advance for doing so as soon as possible. And again, thank you all for those who have pledged. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming with Reverend Scott, the Most Reverend Scott Hall.
I got a promotion, that's sweet. All right, so I have a few announcements for the good of the order. Diane, where are you? Diane, where'd you go? There you are. Diane just reminded me that there is a standout outside the church after church. We'll be protesting the war, if that's what we're going to call it, in Iran right now. So please feel free to join your neighbors and friends out there to make yourselves be heard. Just a reminder again, it is Patriots Day tomorrow, which means that's given that it's a Massachusetts state holiday, that also means our church offices will be closed. They will be open on Tuesday, but due to building maintenance, they're also going to be closed Wednesday and Thursday. We will be working remotely, so feel free to reach out via email if you need anything. Today's Parents Forum has been canceled. We did send a note out to those who registered for it or came last time. We will be rescheduling that. Look for an update from Reverend Julia this week. Next Sunday, after the service, all of y'all are invited to come play the imagination game with us. Our church, 10 years from now. What does that look like? And what will it take to get there? You are invited to share your ideas and guide our strategic planning. Next, you can now buy your 325 anniversary First Parish t-shirts. Susan, are you here? Well done. Thanks, Raj. Thanks, Susan. You can get those after today's service. They will be, I'm told, the perfect attire for our 2 p.m. May 3rd lawn party right there outside at First Parish, where we will gather to watch and cheer our float in the Brewster in Bloom parade. Be there or be boring. And with so many other great things in the future, I think it's a good time right now to take this moment and ground ourselves in the present and take a deep breath in and let it go. How about another? In and out. Continue to take a few more of these deep, slow, intentional breaths over the next few moments, in which with each release, just try to release, to let go of whatever it is you might need to let go of in order to be more present to the possibility of the sacred right here and right now.
Good morning. When I realized that I had neglected to list the poet of what we're doing for the introit, Arthur O'Shaughnessy, whose phrase, "We are the music makers," definitely became famous. I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll wake up at 5 in the morning and I'll unfold the orders of service and I'll send them back through the printer and just say, and then I thought, okay, I actually know I'm crazy. So, Arthur O'Shaughnessy's beautiful words, beautiful poem set to music.
We light the chalice this morning with a sense of wonder as we consider the risks, the beauty, and the possibilities of imagining a future still worth reaching for. Now it's time to stand for our affirmation. Face each other across the middle of the sanctuary, or however you folks in the balcony want to do it. And so the people on my right, your left, will join me in the start of the affirmation, and on my left, you'll follow with the italics. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is its sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. You can stay standing. We're going to sing hymn number 301 in the gray hymnal. Today is one of those unusual Sundays where all of the kids are away on vacation and the rest of us are left behind. What is up with that? But in the spirit of a time for all ages, I have prepared a quiz. Just color these as space facts, and we'll leave that alone. So, what does Uranus smell like? Farts. It's true. They believe that it's actually filled with sulfur, so it's the atmosphere is filled with sulfur. So it's likely that it will actually smell like farts. My kids were thrilled with that one. Did you know that the planet, though, is actually tipped over almost completely sideways? So it doesn't spin like this, it spins like this. Huh? Didn't know that, did you? I didn't either. Have I mentioned how much fun I have doing research for Sunday morning? If the sun was a jar and the earth was a marble, how many earths can you stuff inside the sun? Hundreds of thousands. It's a good guess. Anybody else? 1 million. 1 million. Now, with regular marbles, that means you would need a jar the size of a dump truck. And when you filled that jar up, it would be so heavy, it would totally break through the floor. Right? Incredibly heavy. Okay, true or false? Does Mars have a volcano 3 times taller than Mount Everest? Yes. Yes, it does. True or false? Mercury is shrinking. True, it is. It's shrinking. Good job. Water ice, true or false, can be found all over the solar system. It's true. True or false, if you had a bathtub big enough, would Saturn float? Yes, it would. There's no actual surface to Saturn, it's just gas. And that gas is so light that, in fact, it would just float on water. But could you imagine the size of that bathtub? Woo! Okay. What color is the sunset on Mars? White. That's good. Red. Purple. It's blue. The sun is blue. Cool, right? Okay. Did you know that there is an asteroid in our asteroid belt that has 90 million tons of platinum sitting at its core? 90 million. It's worth over $5 trillion. Still not enough to pay our national debt. And that is not the most valuable asteroid we know of. Right? One has enough nickel, iron, and precious metals to be worth roughly $700 quintillion. 700 quintillion. And now you know why Elon Musk wants to go to space. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And Henry! Why don't we take a moment right now, however, and we're just going to move directly into greeting our neighbors. So take a moment, say hello to each other, and listen for the chime to bring you back. All right, settle down. Today's offering is a split plate with MAPA, the Massachusetts Peace Action. It's a nonpartisan, nonprofit, grassroots organization working to develop the sustained political power that will foster a more just and peaceful U.S. foreign policy. MAPA was a group nominated by the Peaceful World Task Force. Just remember that a happy member is a generous member, and please give generously. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
Last move. So for our meditation today, we will use the Gray Hymnal, reading number 530. Please turn to Out of the Stars. I will read the plain text, and you will kindly answer with the italic text. And when you find it, please look up so I know we're ready to roll. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come. Stardust and sunlight mingling through time and space.
Out of the stars have we come, up from time. Out of the stars have we come.
Time out of time, before time, in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth was the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas.
Earth formed by sun, lit by sunlight. This is our home. Out of the stars have we come.
Mystery hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea.
Out of the stars, rising from rocks and the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows came ferns.
Out of the sea to the land, up from darkness to light, rising to walk and to fly, out of the sea trembled life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Life up from sea, eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love.
Life from the sea, warmed by sun, washed by rain, life from within, giving birth, rose to love.
This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth, life upon earth rose to love.
This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart, our wonder, sing that we live.
Now time for a moment of silence. Get comfortable in your seats. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, or look down. today's reading, I have a short personal reflection. I come from a large Polish family, as my dad was one of 8 children and my mom one of 6. One of my aunts, my Chuchi Bertha, never married and thus was especially attentive to her nieces and nephews. So when she passed away in 2012 at the age of 90, her inheritance went to myself, my siblings, and my many cousins. Split so many ways it was not a substantial amount, but enough for me to buy a piece of artwork that I could remember her by. Marcia and I went off to P-Town to see what we could find. One gallery had an abstract piece in the window that caught my attention, so we went inside. And there on the wall was a different piece that I immediately knew was right. And an image of that is on your cover of the Order of Service. The sun, our closest star, is the focal point. The rest of the piece looks like a cave painting from early human history. Stick figures are holding hands and dancing, a joyous celebration of the life-giving warmth of the sun. It hangs where I see it every day when I'm home. After more than a dozen years later, I still feel a sense of wonder about the people in my imagination who are celebrating in joy. It has come to represent for me the early beginnings of religion in human history. In a time before people began writing down their stories, before some leaders began using religion for the purpose of earthly power, a simple sense of joy and wonder in community. A time of gratitude, optimism, and hope for the future, despite what surely was a hard life back in those cave painting days. Friends, let's take a sense of wonder, joy, and optimism as we embrace the possibilities of our future together here in this community. Now for the reading from JFK, presented by JFK. "7 years before Neil Armstrong's famous first steps, President John F. Kennedy delivered one of his most famous speeches. With apologies for the dated language, here's an excerpt from that speech delivered on September 12, 1962, titled, 'We Choose to Go to the Moon.' We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of about a half century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals and cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year, and then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week, we developed penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ails as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this country was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. The unknown was conquered by those who moved forward, and so will space. And if our capsuled history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. But why the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And you may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it, and the moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. So ends the reading.
I'm not going to sing. Not today, but thank you. Thank you so much for that. A young child stands barefoot in the middle of a field. It's night. There's very little light pollution here, just the riot of sound, cicadas and peepers filling the spring night. The child, here's none of that. The earth around him lost beneath a sky just littered with light. The uncountable stars above his head, a vast spill of diamonds. He doesn't know the names of the stars, doesn't know about hydrogen or galaxies or orbital mechanics. But he knows this. Something up there is calling. It's not a sound, not a word. It's a pull, a longing, a dare. For me, that's how it began. The Milky Way fanning out over my head. And that night, many decades ago, I lost a part of myself, a part that I have never been able to reclaim. For many of us, this experience, or one very like it, is formative, perhaps even electrifying. I remember being transfigured, mouth open, paralyzed in a wash of starlight. And I can imagine how this might have been for our earliest ancestors, gazing upward with bafflement, curiosity, and wonder. I imagine that the first stirrings of religion were born this way, in awe. It doesn't take a poet to see the canopy of night as humanity's very first cathedral. The star-filled sky, our first scripture. And I have no doubt that somewhere deep in the soul of humanity, across all cultures and all centuries, that curiosity, that longing to know, has never really left us. We are still pulled upward and outward by something older than language and more enduring than fear. Our eyes filled with stars, a tiny voice whispering, "This is what we were made for." We were made for wonder. The heavens have always called us upward, onward. In every civilization we have a record of, there have been those who have looked up. Gilgamesh followed the stars to the edge of the world, seeking immortality. Polynesian sailors followed the stars across vast oceans in search of new lands. Astronomers in Babylon, Egypt, China, and Mesoamerica built temples to capture the magic, the movement, the secrets of celestial bodies. The stars have been guides, gods, omens, mysteries, beckoning us to seek, to risk, to reach beyond ourselves, to look up and ask questions that begin with, what if? But it's only been in the lifetimes of some of you here in this room that we've begun to answer some of these questions. Some of you here remember what it was like in the 50s and 60s. No need to out yourself. But back then, the world had emerged from World War II, battered but hopeful. America was prosperous, confident, and afraid. The Red Scare had gripped us. The Soviet Union, once our ally against fascism, had become the new enemy. Communism was the new boogeyman. Senator Joseph McCarthy saw communists around every corner. You learned quickly what you could say and to whom. You learned to lower your voice, to be small, to trust your neighbor a little less than you had the day before. The Cold War was escalating. And then, suddenly, in a blink, America was losing that war. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. For a polished sphere no larger than a beach ball, the impact was cataclysmic. TV and radio imagined it constantly beeping over our heads. But Sputnik wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a symbol, a signal that America was being left behind. In response, the United States poured resources into science education, rocketry, and aerospace development. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, was established in 1958, 1 year after Sputnik. But before America could even catch its breath, the Soviets jumped forward again. On April 12, 1961, a 27-year-old Soviet pilot named Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin became the first human to leave the Earth and orbit our planet. Gagarin was the son of a carpenter and a dairy farmer. He'd survived hunger and hardship and Nazi occupation of his homeland. But he loved to fly. And out of the over 200 candidates, he was chosen not only for his skill and his daring, but for his calm, his charisma, and his ability to inspire. The launch was dangerous. No one knew then if the human body could survive the stresses of launch and space flight, but in just over 100 minutes, Gagarin's capsule rose into the sky and punched out of the atmosphere. The very first words spoken from space were his. He said, "I see Earth. It is so beautiful." There have been many moments when history lurches forward, when the fate of humanity changed in an instant. And that day, that moment, that was one of them. The stars were no longer out of reach. The era of human spaceflight had begun. And it was a year later, in 1962, when John F. Kennedy delivered his moonshot speech at Rice University. "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." Thanks, John. "Because that challenge is one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win." At the time of that speech, most believed the challenge to be one we would not achieve, that the Apollo program was pure arrogance, some kind of Cold War propaganda. Maybe it was. But if so, it certainly came to be more than that. It became a statement of vision, a call to greatness, a dare, and one that was heard in some unlikely places, like Hollywood. Just 5 years after Gagarin's flight and 4 years after Kennedy's moonshot challenge, Star Trek premiered on American television. And yes, whoever had the bet wins. At first glance, Star Trek was a low-budget TV schlock. But the years since have been very kind. And today, it has come to mean a whole lot more. To many, Star Trek was a subversive dream written in stardust. Another dare, because the show imagined a humanity that had transcended ancient divisions. The Cold War was long over. Hunger and poverty were history. Planet Earth was united in purpose and spirit. Technology was used not to dominate, but to explore. Curiosity and diplomacy were our highest values. In this future, the crew of the Enterprise traveled the stars, not to colonize or conquer, but to learn, to help, to grow. The bridge of the starship was diverse: black, white, Asian, Russian, male, female, alien. And all were treated with dignity. All were respected. It's hard to overstate how much this mattered. In the late 60s, even by the late 60s, with McCarthy long gone, the national stage was hardly quiet. The civil rights movement in full voice. American culture was evolving rapidly. Yet on that bridge, diverse, dignified, united, there was a vision, a clear one, of what could come next. Star Trek imagined a specific path forward, and this vision inspired a generation. And not just the dreamers, writers, and artists, but scientists, engineers, and astronauts. Astronaut Mae Jemison, the very first black woman in space, called it one of her inspirations, and its actors her role models. Star Trek wasn't just television, it was a catechism for a different kind of humanity. It taught us that any journey outward must also be a journey inward, toward justice, unity, and wisdom. And unfolding directly from Kennedy's speech, Star Trek told us to go, and go boldly, because out there was important, because the universe was too vast and too amazing to ignore. After the Apollo program came Voyager, human dreams launched at alien suns. 13 years after Voyager 1 left Earth, Carl Sagan suggested that we aim its camera back toward Earth. And that's how we captured the image we now call the pale blue dot. Our home, our Earth, every human being who ever lived, just a mote of dust suspended on a sunbeam. Of that image, Carl Sagan said, quote, "It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world." For Sagan, that image of the pale blue dot was not an escape from the problems of Earth. It was a vantage point from which to see them more clearly. Sagan taught us that the carbon in our cells, the calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, every atom of it was forged, literally forged in the heart of a dying star. He reminded us that we are not in the universe, we are the universe, awakened, aware, and wondering. We are made of star stuff. And he invited us all to see the universe not just as material, but as majesty, not just as data, but as magic. We don't really talk like this anymore. We don't talk about wonder and awe as inspiring us, as calling us out and up. We don't talk about the stars. We talk about wars overseas, voting rights threatened at home, the economy teetering on the edge of collapse. We talk about the climate, our neighbors being disappeared, and a healthcare system that is broken. We whisper to each other that everything is terrible. Someone mentions NASA, and we scoff. The fearful mind says, stay small, stay safe, stay silent, stay put. The practical mind says, fix things, fix what's broken. That's first things first. Fight what's wrong. Dream later. The cynical mind says, grow up, wake up, stop dreaming. We'd only make a mess of it up there, too. But I wonder if dreaming, looking up, I wonder if these are not luxuries for quieter times. I wonder, in fact, if they're anything but. What if the dream was never the reward for surviving the struggle? What if dreaming was always the reason for the struggle? Not nostalgia, not a callback to some imagined former greatness, not a denial of the moment we're in. King didn't wait for civility before marching. Curie didn't wait for equality before claiming 2 Nobel Prizes. Kennedy didn't wait for technology before daring us to go to the moon. We dream. We dare to dream boldly because the alternative is surrender. And surrender is not worthy of what we are. Look, we need action because justice has never once arrived on its own. We need resilience because the arc is long and we are not done bending it. We need each other because none of us is large enough to carry all of this, alone. But survival is not enough. Bread alone will never fill an aching soul. Wonder is not what we feel like when life is going well. It's what keeps us human when it isn't. It's not merely a feeling. Wonder is a capacity, a power, a faculty. It's what allows us to see the person in front of us as genuinely other, genuinely mysterious, genuinely worthy of our attention. Without it, justice is just a transaction. Without it, the stranger remains a stranger. Without it, we cannot imagine a world different from the one we are currently in. What holds all of it up, the action, the resilience, the beloved community, is wonder. Not the last thing, the first thing. April 12th is Yuri's night, celebrating Gagarin's wild ride across the sky. This holiday does not get the attention it deserves. I personally have a mission to change that. I see Yuri's night, or as the United Nations calls it, the International Day of Human Spaceflight, as a reminder that 65 years ago, in another time of fear and failure, of division and despair, we humans were still capable of doing things that were awesome, unifying, beautiful, big things, bold things. And 2 weeks ago, some 50 years after the last time we visited the moon, NASA has sent astronauts back. And that just takes my breath away. Gagarin showed us where we are. Sagan taught us what we are. Star Trek imagined who we might become. And a little over a century ago, Father Teilhard de Chardin tried to make sense of all of it. He dreamed that the universe was not winding down, it was waking up. He imagined the cosmos as a thing evolving, and not just physically, but spiritually, that it was all going somewhere, toward greater complexity, toward greater consciousness, toward greater love. Teilhard called this destination the omega point, not as an ending, a fulfillment. Every supernova, every new star formed from the ashes of the old, every new planet shaped from riches gleaned by cosmic ruin, each successive act in cosmic history is mirrored by the arc of human history, where every act of courage, every spark of curiosity, every leap of imagination is intentional. It's the universe more alive, more aware, more filled with purpose. You and I, our lives and service, our dreams and passions are all part of a great promise, Teilhard said. Our participation in a sacred unfolding, a story as old as time. Not 2 stories, the cosmos and us, but one one that can only end in glory. Onward, upward, forever. It's a bold story. And if that is the story we belong to, then wonder is not optional, it's essential. If that is our story, we need the stars, not to flee the troubles of earth, but to remember what earth means to us. If that is our story, all we need to do is look up. And something in us shifts. The smallness falls away, the fear loses its grip. And as we turn back toward the world, not as we left it, maybe it's something else, something it could be. And that is wonder. We are made for it. But maybe we're made from it, too. Gagarin's dare, Star Trek's vision, Sagan's pale blue dot, Teilhard's omega point. In all of this, I remember that boy standing underneath the spill of stars, and I find, again and again, even now, that I am not diminished. I am enlarged. So here's what I ask. If you haven't yet, go see Project Hail Mary. Anybody seen this yet? Fantastic movie. An unlikely astronaut is sent on an impossible mission to save the Earth. It's amazing. It's my new favorite movie. And this week, just once, weather permitting, go outside at night, or stand at a window, or simply look up. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and just look into the night sky. You don't need a telescope. You don't need to know the names of anything. Just look. Let the looking do the work. And notice what shifts in you when you do. That is the practice. Looking is where it starts. Not because the stars solve anything, not because beauty cancels out suffering, but because when we look up, we remember what we are. And what we are is this: the universe, awake and wondering at itself. And as long as we can wonder, we're still alive, still becoming, still reaching. My friends, my challenge to you is this: let the cynics whisper that dreams are for the naive. Let the timid shrink in fear. Let the foolish praise their own short-sightedness. But let us lift our gaze together. In our wonder lies our strength. In our questions lies our wisdom. In our reaching lies our purpose. We are stardust, the children of stars. We carry galaxies in our blood and constellations in our dreams. This is our home. That is our birthright. And that is why we will boldly go onward, upward, together, as far as wonder can reach. May it ever be so.
Let us sing our closing hymn together from the Teal Hymnal, 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Got it marked for you.
Okay. remain standing just a moment.
We extinguish the chalice with a quote from Albert Einstein. There are only two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. Go and wonder today with the miracle of life in your heart and mind.
Two quick reminders. The making of the handpan documentary will be at 1:30 this afternoon in our parish hall. The euchre tournament, I'm also told, has been postponed. We will be, no? At Susan's house. Raise your hand, Susan. Talk to Susan about the euchre tournament. Perfect. Now, my friends, if you are comfortable doing so, please join hands. There we go. We are a different kind of church, and whatever taste or touch you've had in this time and place of wonder, awe, mystery, curiosity, that is your good news to carry out into the world. My friends, life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be swift to love. Make haste to be kind. Hold fast to hope. And always remember this: you are stardust. Shine boldly. Amen, and blessed be. That concludes today's service. Please join us in the parish room for coffee and conversation.
That was great. Reverend Scott.
That was fun.